Please welcome to the stage writer-director Bella Baptiste. Does anyone have any questions about this? So, as always, you can text your questions on Twitter, not text, you can tweet your questions on Twitter, #SBFF. And as always, you ask the questions, Bella will answer the questions. Do we have any questions? Or are you all terrified? I'm sorry, somebody has a question? Oh, we have a Twitter question already. Let's see, what am I looking at? Oh, I see it. So Bella, what inspired the story?
So this is a second movie of the Film Academy we did together, and originally the story was about the truck driver. Since the Percht and the Krampus had a part of the story, but we had to shorten the story due to budgetary problematics. So we said, okay, we're gonna focus on the Percht, and that is an assemblage of Klaus and Georg, the two brothers. They are inspired from my two uncles who, like me, like to have a wine or a beer, but then they're not in a good mood. They start to fight and it gets ugly. And another tragic story that happened in my life when I was a teenager was in the deep woods of Styria. I was around with friends, and out of the nowhere there was a bottle thrown and crashed into my friend's face, Bernadette, and two lives were ruined that moment. And I mean, let's have drinks, but let's be friends, and this is just stupid. Yes, so that was the Twitter answer.
Okay. More questions. I think you've really scared them all. Where? There's a question up here somewhere? Yes, ma'am. Yes, the question's about the tradition. Can you tell us about that? What is the difference between the Krampus and the Percht?
So it's like the how you call it, the Christmas tree. It's a pagan tradition where people dress up in the Alps. It's also in Switzerland, in southern Germany. They dress up to chase the winter away. So they're in a way good demons. But then with time, it becomes like a Santa Claus evil helper. And so nowadays there are a lot of shows starting in December until January. People love it. I mean, it's scary, but they really enjoy it. You see kids running to them and getting scared. But then there are also some, like every year there are like tragedies happening because, you know, it's drunk teenagers or young boys who dress up like this with alcohol, and the anonymity of the mask cannot hear much in that, and the loudness of the bell creates a sort of powerful feeling, and so they start to, you know, get a little bit extreme in their things. So, for example, you wouldn't use chains; they really hurt. So now the government makes them use things that are less hurtful, and they're crazy stories. Like in the 60s, when there were, I think 60s, there were no DNA tests yet. There were like group rapes sometimes, and no one knew who it was because it was just some demon doing it. So yes, it's yeah, filling your nightmares, and like I love them always because I like dark little creatures like this. But my sister, she was really terrified as a child. And so when she didn't clean up her room, my mother would say, hey, be careful, otherwise I bring the Krampus, and that always worked.
Yes, sir. The question is, do you have any cinematic influences for this film or your work in general?
Yes, definitely. I really love to, especially with the cinematographer who is, I love him very much. We try to use the light for like a third person in the room, and in the first image there is, of course, a complete copycat of The Shining, and then all of those things I don't remember now, but we had like 2 books filled of printed moods that we found in the internet or for a movie class, and said, this looks nice, that looked nice, but doesn't make sense. And yes.
I'm amused by that. Yes, another question. I thought I saw someone raise their hand. Yes. So the question is, are the costumes they were wearing the kinds of costumes, I can't speak, the kinds of costumes that they would typically wear?
That is a very good question, because we play with the title Percht, but those are actually Krampus costumes. So the Krampus is more evilish, but the Percht is more, if you can say it, in the direction of Lord of the Rings, like maybe, yes. Elves, yes, dark elves maybe. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. So those guys, they were super nice for the beginning. Of course, we couldn't arrange to have 120 Krampus and Perchten running around, so we tried to find a real place where they would do such a thing. Many rejected us asking for shooting because they would know we're doing something dark. Those guys said, sure, of course, come, shoot, do whatever. You can also be in the middle of the group. And afterwards we asked them, do you know where we could borrow those costumes? Because they're handmade, they're extremely expensive and precious, also from emotional value. And they said, yeah, just take our stuff, just bring it back before December. So that was very supportive.
So when did you actually shoot the film?
We shot it in March last year and April. So we had 2 blocks, one in, yes.
With the snow?
Yes. No, in April, there was no snow anymore. That was the outside shot with the truck. And of course, there was no snow anymore. And one day before the shooting, it started to snow, and it was just, thank you.
I believe there was another question over here somewhere. Yes. So I'm not going to try to repeat all of that, but basically she was asking, is it like a fairy tale, like the Brothers Grimm fairy tale? Is there almost a moral to the story?
I would absolutely accept that interpretation. I think that is not far away from the reality, from what I believed. Yes. Maybe I can add a little thought about the darkness making, is that often I had dreams where, in childhood, maybe my parents died in my dreams and it was a nightmare. And I woke up and I saw my parents and I was really happy to find them alive. And then, when my ex-girlfriend left me, I had a dream where she was next to me telling me how much she loves me, and I woke up in a nightmare. So I like to maybe do it as a warning to counter things.
I'm not sure how to take that. I think I cut somebody else off who had a question. Was somebody else asking a question earlier? Yes, in the back, way in the back. Yeah, the question is about the music. Who's the composer? What was the process involved there?
Yes, so the composer is Markus Zierhofer. He's also from near Vienna, but he's now working in Berlin. We did already 2 projects together, so it was clear I don't want to change the team with him. And I really, really like to use music. In Austria, it's more tradition to do no music. Like Michael Haneke is one of our teachers, so it's very puristic with music making. But since my mother comes from opera, I just I need that music.
Thank you. Bella Baptiste.